Am fantastic. If it got any better, they'd make a law against it. All right. Hey, welcome. I'm just looking at all the faces. This is cool. I finally figured out how to get the thumbnails really small so you can see a whole lot of them. Hey, George, I sent you my PDF because I see Tiffany's in the car and I didn't have Joe's email. But if you don't mind, if you'll post that for me when I ask you to, if that's possible, because I know Tiffany's out, or send it to Joe. But I want to hold it, okay?
I'm going to send it over to Joe. I'm prepping for tomorrow.
Okay, got it.
Shameless plug for all of you that are part of our the GPS group proper. Tomorrow we're going over in detail a lot of different scripts, dialogues, mentalities for what we normally do on our Thursday private calls, which is the attraction calls. I mean, this is complete. I've got 10 pages for you guys in very small type. And I don't expect you to know it, but I expect you to want to know it. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Fred, I'm going to send that to Joe. Joe, be on the lookout for when he calls.
Perfect. Yeah. And then Joe, send me your email if you don't mind. So I'll have it. So, all right, let's get rocking and rolling. How many of you are interested in tapping some personal power? Hello? Anybody interested?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It didn't do any good because I didn't share the sound. All right, let me do that one more time. There we go. All right, so here we go. Now somebody, and I don't know who it was, but first of all, this new logo, I want to just start here. Let me introduce this. This is a YouTube channel I just started, The Inside Out Agent. If you go to YouTube and look up Fred DeFalco, The Inside Out Agent, I would appreciate you going there and liking the channel. It's just starting. Subscribe, share it with your friends. I'm really excited about this. I was given this term back when I was a 26-year-old manager, and I used to have the #1 office out of 13, a brand new startup office after only 3 years in sales. And I did it by this emphasis: you got to live life from the inside out. And I used to have big libraries in my office. You had to have audio tapes in your car. You had to be reading. You had to be working on yourself from the inside out. In that office, out of 33 people, we used to do 100 sales a month and 100 listings a month, and all because people operated from the inside out. So that's the new look. We're still working on it, but you notice at the top, inward is sanity, insanity is outside you. So today, here we go. We called Wednesday Soulful Wednesday. That was what we developed a year ago. And I like that because it's time to take a breath right in the middle of the week. Some people call it hump day. I say it's a day to reflect, look back the previous 2 or 3 days, look forward to the next 2 or 3 days, and make your plans. But somebody put this in here, not sure who: conquer self to conquer success, because after I read it this morning, I go, I don't really feel like that today. But I did submit this to Tiffany, and I said, okay, now I've got to live up to it. Conquering self, the only key to consistency, and how to managing the one and only person you spend all your time with, yourself. You're it. You're the only person that you will spend all your time with ever since day one, all the way through to the last day. And that is yourself. So how can we power our lives from the inside out and live life by design and not default? Well, there's thousands and thousands of speakers, writers over the years, and they're endless. It's all over YouTube. It's in the books. It's everywhere. But why do we have still a lot of insanity in our lives? Why? And we know what insanity is. Insanity is keep doing the same things over and over and just expecting different results. And yet we have this power within, so some people say. Tony started with Awaken the Giant Within. Ziegler was the same way. There's a giant in you. All the religious leaders, the kingdom is within you. What goes on with us? Why can't we conquer that one enemy of ours, ourselves, and stay consistent, and really truly feeling that our lives are being lived by design and not by default. Well, there's a lot of the practical things with the living life by design and versus default. It's time blocking every week, every Sunday, 30 minutes for yourself. And there's all kind of practical things you can do. And a lot of times that's not enough though, because we do not work on ourselves. Jim Rohn, work harder on yourself than you do anything else. Or he says, work harder on yourself than you do your business, and everything else takes care of itself. So where do we go from here? How do we tap that to stay consistent? How many of you would like to have a little bit more consistency in your life? Let me see your hands. And we've got, I don't know, 50, 60, 61 people on right now. On this call, there's depression, there's can't get out of my own way, I can't stay motivated, there's moneyless marriages, there's moneyless lives on here, there's financial problems, there's sexless marriages, there's loveless marriages, there's loveless relationships, because when you put this many people together in a room, oh my gosh, if we all would write our challenges on a piece of paper and throw them in the middle of the room, and then we all would then go back in and say, okay, everyone pick up one. As soon as you pick up someone else's problem, you're going to say, give me mine back. But yet we let those things conquer us. And we got to figure this out, folks. Inward is sanity. Insanity is outside you. So I want to hopefully today in Soulful Wednesday accomplish what we always have talked about. And that is to be able to, and of course with Zoom, my PowerPoint doesn't like cooperating. Why is that? I've had that. Let me just do this so we can do it this way. That makes it easier. So Soulful Wednesday, it's all about unlearning today. I'm not here to teach you, because believe me, I'm the student. I'm here to pick something up. And just this always challenges me preparing for these things. And that's why I love doing them. So I'm not here as a teacher, I'm here as a student. And of course, we're all teachers and students to one another. So we've been doing this for now, I don't know how long, Soulful Wednesdays. It's all about unlearning. I want to reverse your thoughts today. I want to take you on that thinking safari through the jungle of your mind. And let's get you to realize it is well within your soul, and there is a giant and kingdom within you. And the way we're going to get to that and tap that power is by getting rid of all your BS, all your belief systems. So again, today, that's my job, is to get you to unlearn. What's interesting, if you got a challenge in finances, right, and you really focus on it and you set goals, and let's say a year and a half later, it turns around for you, where did those finances come from? You may say, well, they came from outside sources. No, they didn't, because they got generated by your thoughts. They got generated from the inside out. If you're having just struggles in relationships or a relationship, right? And you say, oh my gosh, and you really go inward and you say, okay, what can I do differently? Is it me? And you really evaluate, and boy, a year and a half later, everything is blissed, and you really worked on it. Where did that answer come from? It came from the inside. Everything has got to come from the inside, but we are blocked because of our BS, our belief systems. And that's one of the things that we've been doing again with Soulful Wednesdays, is practicing Socrates' philosophy, and that is the unexamined life is not worth living. So today I want you to examine your life. I want you to please silence your phone. Please turn it off, turn it upside down. Don't look at a text message. Don't tell me you got a deal coming and you got to pay attention. Stop. Time out. This is your life. You've got to learn to tap the personal power. There's way too many things that we let take our personal power from us and take time to ourselves. So we got to practice that philosophy today, and that is to examine our life today. And then we've got to raise our level of thinking. Above all else, I want to see, says the Course in Miracles. That's all I want. I want to see better. Get out of your own way, defeat your one enemy, which we're going to talk all about today, and the how to. And then I keep adding to all the slide deck, because when I send it to you, if you've never been on with me, this way you have a really personal development library, because there's a lot of YouTube links and all the stuff I'm going to share with you. So like this soul versus ego, that's in there. So everything that's here is going to be in the slide deck that you're going to get. And you never see things the way they are. I don't care what you're going through today. You're not seeing it the way they really are. You are seeing things the way you are. You may say, wait a minute, Fred, my sister's dying from pancreatic cancer. I just lost my mother. What do you mean I'm not seeing the things the way they are? That's the way they are. I lost a sister to pancreatic cancer last year. But the way I saw a lot of it, it was not the way it is, because the truth, death is not fearful, because we're eternal beings. We always have been and always will be. So we don't see things the way they are. We operate so much in illusions instead of truth. And if you're always thinking, right, about the past or the future, or you're worried, then you're not thinking at all, because that's an illusion, right? You gotta focus on the present moment. The only truth in life is the present moment, not the past, not the future. But in order to conquer ourselves and tap that personal power within, there's no personal power in the past. You may say, well, that's not true. I learned a lot from my past. I didn't say you can't learn from it, but if you think about it, you let thoughts, any energy whatsoever, focus on anything in the past, then you are tapping you're draining your personal power. You wonder why you can't tap it, because there's a hole when you're, and it's all draining out. So you never see things the way they are. You only see things the way you are. That is such a truth. And the present moment is the only cure to that. And then let's just go down here. Life is not happening to you. It's happening for you and for us. I am going through some of the most difficult, challenging times of my life right now. And I keep saying there's something good about this. There's something good about this, not for me only, but for us. And when I say us, I mean you. I mean anybody I come in contact. I mean all those people that are still not in my life. It is something happening. It's not happening to me. It's happening for me. So you gotta, and the only way I'm able to keep that peace is by the present moment only. So you've got to think for yourself, or you'll fall for anything. You've got to be proactive versus reactive. And the past is reactive. The future is, you're reacting to something you don't know what it is. So I always encourage everyone, YouTube has got to be your university. Go in and type in YouTube self-mastery. It's possible, folks. It's possible to live in peace at every given moment, no matter the hell that is going on around you, within your families, within your business, or anywhere. We're human beings having a spirit. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are eternal spiritual beings experiencing humanity. But you can experience humanity at its height and at its joys and at its happiness, thinking about the present. Thinking about the past or thinking about the future. Only the present moment. The power of present moment, POP. And then, of course, power of planning to stay within that present moment. So let's get into this. We said today we got to conquer ourselves. What does it mean to conquer? Okay. How many of you have a habit you'd like to conquer? Okay. There's a lot of us, right? And then how do we conquer that? Well, you don't conquer a habit. You replace it with another habit. You can't conquer a habit. You can only conquer yourself. How many would you like to conquer your financial situation? You can't conquer it. You can only conquer yourself, right? And because all the answers are within us. So once we conquer ourselves, we get all these, I'm going to conquer my weight. I'm going to conquer this. People always brag about, I lost 10 pounds. No, don't say, they'll use the word lost. The ego does not like the word lost. You gain 10 pounds of health. You gain 10 pounds of health. So you can't conquer anything. You can only conquer your thinking, and you can only conquer yourself. And when we focus on this, when we get to a point, there's nothing wrong on the outside of us. Everything outside of us is insanity. Only the sanity's inside. That's the only place you can do anything about everything, or anything is inside. That's the only place. And to conquer yourselves, everything begins with a thought. then you take action. And you see, if everything begins with a thought and you're thinking about the past, you're not thinking, because the past is not real. You can't, it's illusion. It's just smoke. If you're thinking about the future, it's almost the same thing. The only thing you can do to conquer yourself and conquer your thinking is live moment by moment by moment in the present moment, and to focus on truth. I do have the power within me. I am powerful. I can figure this out. I am a intelligent human being. I am a caring individual. I will figure this out. Stay in the present moment. So everything begins with a thought. Then you take action, and you can only take action in the present moment. Now you can make plans, but you still have to just take action to control that beautiful mind of ours and stay in that present moment and deal with truth, because it's thought, it's action, then it's a habit as you keep taking more action. I have a philosophy. I don't like the sun to come up without me. I want to be there and hug the sun. I want the sun to hug me every morning. When it's raining, it's with an umbrella, because I'm hoping to see it break through the clouds, because it's the little things in life that we do that cause us to have and be able to tap that power within us. So this is all about conquering ourselves today. And it's the only way to do that is with military force. It takes military force. Any of you agree? You're like a freaking, you can't break through sometimes. Why? Because it takes force. It really does. And conquerors also successfully overcome a problem or weakness. I don't necessarily agree with that, because you don't overcome a problem or weakness, because as soon as you recognize it's a problem or a weakness, then it's real, and then you're giving it some power. I successfully overcome your thinking about a problem or weakness. So it's all our thinking. So now, how are we going to do this? Napoleon Hill said, if you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. How many of you feel more conquered by yourself than you are conquering yourself, right? Don't you want to, people say, Fred, how do you do that? I go, what 5 minutes are you talking about? I only am able to conquer myself 5 minutes at a time. That's all I can handle, right? But I do it on a steadily, just present moment basis, because I want to conquer myself. And I'm 68 years old, and I am just the last 5, 6, 7 years really understanding this. And I've been in personal development all my life. I thought I understood it, but I didn't understand it. And it's until, I really started, digging into this and looking at it, and the ego versus the soul. And I thank God for our Course in Miracles. It's where it got me to unlearn, because I didn't realize, I kept trying to learn more and more and more, and realize I needed to unlearn. So if you do not conquer yourself, you will be conquered by self. How many of you kind of don't like yourself when you're conquered by yourself, right? Overeat, how do you feel? Crappy, right? Overdrink, crappy. Oversleep, crappy. Procrastinate, crappy. So we've got to conquer ourselves, or you will be conquered by self. I see people every day. I have people that are shut in and have been for the last 3 or 4 years. They are conquered by themselves, and we've got to conquer it. So now, how are we going to do that is the question. Plato said the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. How many of you get to the point where you're so conquered by yourself, you feel kind of vile, right? Right? Or you feel shameful. That feeling of shame is such a heavy load. It's such a heavy load, and so many of us, I say this, and you've heard me say this before on the Soulful Wednesdays. If any of us was put on trial for the way we talk to ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, the way we think of ourselves, the way we compare ourselves, we would be guilty of murder. We murder ourselves on a daily basis, because we have not conquered ourselves. And then when we're conquered, to be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. So let's get where we're going to get the how to now. I like Buddha. It is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Then the victory is yours. It cannot be taken from you, not by angels or by demons, heaven or hell. I'll tell you, that victory is so sweet. Now, that victory is not financial. That victory is not without people dying in your life with pancreatic cancer and people suicide and this and that. And it's just that peace deep down inside your soul that no matter what's going on in the outside, you've got that sanity and you've got that power that you've conquered yourself. I love this quote by Buddha that, the victory is yours. So then those habits just start falling away. You don't have to focus on them so much. And then we're going to talk about where we start in order to get this done. I like fearlessmotivation.com, and I have a link on here for you on that. If you're not working on yourself, you're working against yourself. Let that sink in for a moment. Jim Rohn again said, work harder on yourself than you do anything else. And yet so many times we're the last person that we work on. That's because we don't plan. We don't have power of present moment in our life because we lack the other one, power of planning. And everyone that I mentor individually, I look at their Sundays. If they don't have a half-hour block in their Sundays called My Life, where you evaluate the week before, you look at the upcoming week, and you schedule stuff for yourself personally, you schedule stuff for your family, you schedule date nights, you schedule educational, you schedule in our brokerage in the world. And if you don't have your week laid out, then you're not working on yourself. And that means you're working against yourself. If you don't have 30 minutes for yourself on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, or early morning with coffee, you are working against yourself. So there's the 5 things we have got to work on if you want to tap that personal power. Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to balance what I say because I don't want to give the wrong impression that, if you're not fit and able to run a marathon, then you're not working on yourself. Because I know a lot of people that are awfully motivated and their bodies would never win, Miss America or Miss Universe or Mr. Universe. So, but your body is the container of the soul. And the first thing you've got to work on is your body. I'm going to play this. This little workout video here for you. I'm going to send this to you. Hopefully my sound is working. Are you all able to hear that? Are you able to hear that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Today, right now, you're going to war. You're going into war with your opponent. You're going into war with yourself. You are not scared. You are prepared. You are focused, and you will not lose sight of that. Dreams. Nobody tells me what I can and can't achieve. What matters is what I believe. I fight to be the best in any field. No one can stop me. No one can take the mantle from me. Nothing will stop me. No one will take my moment from me. It's all on me. I'm a beast, a machine. Programmed to achieve and achieve and achieve. I won't stop. I won't relent. I will not back down from any challenge set. I got the heart of a lion and the strength of 10 and the bleeding desire of 10,000 men.
That's one of my daily routines, that video, while I'm out working out before the sun comes up. And it's going to be in your thing here. I'm hoping that you put it on your phone and you greet the sun with me, because that's going to help. But let's get back to our body. Now, here's the test for your body. Okay, no one should tell you what your body should look like, right? As I said, there's a lot of people I know that are heavier, but yet, man, they've got control of their body and they move forward and they love themselves. But the test is when you look in the mirror, or when you go to get up in the morning and your body is sending you, messages that are negative, then you got to work on your body. You got to go to work on your body, because that is where so much power lies, personal power. Because once you tap that, then you can tap anything. And people go, Fred, I've struggled, I've done this, I've done that. Well, stop struggling and go to work on yourself, go to war and just work on that body. And it's the simple things. It's the programming of the mind. You've got to unlearn a lot of things. You've got to stop with the fact that I'm going to lose weight. Please, everybody on this call, never use that word again. Some people's lives are controlled, their attitude every day is controlled by a scale. And you may say, well, I want to measure myself. That's fine, but don't use the word lose weight. I want to gain health. I want to be the best version that this body can contain, no matter my age, my limitations. I mean, you see people that are paraplegic that still work on their body. You see people that are, without a leg or without two legs that are still working on their body. So if anybody else can do it, so can you. So this is one of the main things, and it's linked here. Fearless Motivation talks about these 5 things. So number 1 is your body. We talked about it just a little bit ago about habits. Do you have any habits you'd like to break? Is overeating a habit? It's a program, right? Is eating the wrong foods a habit? It's a program. Is, not getting enough sleep a habit? It's a program. Everything is a program. And then if you can take that program and keep changing it little by little by little. And does it take effort? Absolutely. Does it take work sometimes? Absolutely. But you go find the resources. YouTube is loaded with stuff like that. I mean, my library on my YouTube is just loaded. There's mornings that I'll spend 2 hours out listening to meditations and music like that. And, it's because why? I'm working harder on myself than I am anything else. So I stay in that present moment during the day to stay at peace. So the second thing, of course, is your mind. Now, why is the body before the mind? I just said that a lot of it's your programming. Well, sometimes it just takes that hard oomph to get this out here first, to get this going. And this works hand in hand, but a lot of times your body is blocking your mind. It's blocking the signals that you need to tap that power that you've got within. So this is why I think they put this here first. And I understand that, because every time you conquer this is then a lot more open and clear for you. The other thing, your limited beliefs. Every single one of us on this call, myself included, we are exactly where we have created our lives to be. Today, financially, relationship-wise, health-wise, we've created our lives. And some people might go, you don't understand. We can make all the list we want, but our beliefs, we gotta understand the most important belief that we need to have is that we are a creator, that we are the creators of our lives, and that there's something good happening to me right now. Life is happening for me, not to me. And so we got to end that limited belief. I've got problems, or I've got circumstances that are too heavy, or I'm not smart enough, or, it's good for them, but not for me. I go through that battle all the time. I was on the phone yesterday with someone who I've known for many, many years, very, very wealthy developer. And I remember when he started and I started back, 1989 in Boca Raton, and I said, oh my gosh. And as soon as I hung up the phone, the torture started. Man, I could have, I should have, if only I had him, and why didn't I go that direction? And right away it started, but I went, whoa, wait a minute. Not truth, a lie. I couldn't have, I didn't, it doesn't matter. And I went right to the present moment. And I said, boy, something good is happening. And something's good is life is happening to me. I mean, life is happening for me and for us, whoever that us is, as a big group of all those people that are going to be in our lives. So we got to end this limited beliefs that we have. Procrastination. What is the source of procrastination? It is the lack of proper thinking, right? It's the lack of planning. I hope that before we end this call, every single person opens their calendar and blocks 30 minutes on Sunday, whatever the good time would be for you. Some people, the best is in the evening. Sometimes the best is early morning, as soon as you get up and have your coffee, have a 30-minute block called My Life. And you just sit there and you meditate. You go into gratitude for the previous week. You go into gratitude that wherever you are at that given moment, and then you start looking at your life, saying, "What do I want to see this week?" Because then you're going to start your week out as a creator, what we truly are. And so, as you do that every Sunday, you now are empowering yourself, and you are starting to learn to conquer yourself, and you're starting to get little victories. So in that 30 minutes, when you start taking your own calendar and controlling it, you're going, oh my God, I do have control over my life. Oh my gosh, I do have control over my calendar. And because if you don't plan your life, someone else will for sure. So every Sunday, I'm hoping that everybody, before we hang up, has a Sunday 30-minute block called My Life. It's very, very critical, because you're never going to overcome your procrastination without it. Your gratitude. Here are the things we've got to work on. As an item we have to work on is our gratitude. Now, some of us go, oh no, Fred, I have a gratitude journal, or Fred, I have, every morning I practice gratitude. Well, a lot of times our gratitude is not powerful enough to we like put our gratitude on other people. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for my work. I'm so grateful this. I'm so grateful this. And so much of it was on the outside of us. And what we start out with, is that insanity, inward insanity is outside of us. So sometimes gratitude is that we think it's all about the stuff that's outside of us, but what's inside of us, the gratitude that we have for, hey, I'm planning every week. Hey, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. I'm so grateful that I'm at least sitting here thinking, no matter what the week was like, I'm so grateful that I care enough about myself that I blocked this 30 minutes. So this is a very important part of what we got to work on in order to conquer ourselves, is our gratitude. So take this PDF that you're going to get. I keep this going, as I said, every week, that I'm going to keep doing this, because these are all the other sessions, because there's a lot of links and stuff, because what we program ourselves with is the key. I've been giving this out to some new people coming on and signing in, and they just love it, because there's kind of a roadmap of a lot of personal development, and this whole idea of being able to live as the thermometer. The thermostat, not the thermometer. So take advantage of this PDF. Keep it on your desktop, if you will, as you start thinking about your week. Every Sunday, as you're planning your life, maybe go back and watch one of the video links, or go to the YouTube or the session again, so you can keep conquering yourself, because that victory is sweet. That victory is sweet, and we want to conquer ourselves, or we don't want to be conquered by the self, because that's where the peace and the power is, and that's where your goals, watch what starts happening to your business, to your relationships as you start working on yourself. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Stay in the present moment. Let's keep working on ourselves and let's keep conquering ourselves. And as that little video said, it's time for war, right? We got a war, and that war is against ourselves. So with that, I want to open it up where there's a lot more discussion, where a lot of the power comes from you all. And because I want to sit back and learn too. I want to get something from you guys. So I'm going to hit stop share here and let's open it up.
Fred, can we get that put in the chat now?
Yes, sir, Red. Yes. Joe, if you want to put that in there. Yeah, and it's definitely a, and we'll put that PDF also, Joe, on the workplace and on the YouTube channel, wherever it goes. But anyway, any ahas and anybody working on themselves, and somebody tell me about your time blocking that's been practicing it with me? Anybody?
Joe, Fred, I think it's a constant war, with yourself to get better. And, my daughter, she's 14, she loves to read, and she's into all these little romance novels. And, it's like, I'll throw a title out or something. She's like, Dad, all you read's those self-help books. I'm like, because it's that battle, right? You always want to get better in some area. And I think for me, it's definitely that procrastination piece. Like, okay, it's just going to happen. No, hell, it ain't. You got to go out and make it happen. And that's my daily battle.
Yeah. And Red, I'm glad you brought the word battle up, because it is. And I'll tell you, that 30-minute investment on a Sunday, again, whatever, pick a time it's best for you, first thing in the morning, or some people late at night, wherever it is. That 30 minutes, if you do that for yourself, just that alone, your entire week, you will find you're not procrastinating anywhere near the same amount. When you block 30 minutes only for yourself, no one's able to interrupt you, your phone is off, you're in a place by yourself. You've got to find a quiet place. My quiet place is before the sun comes up, man. There's nothing like it, especially, real early mornings when I'm out, an hour and a half before the sun comes up. And then, it's my quiet place. And matter of fact, that video there, they talk about that, the quiet place, and definitely tune into that video. If you're working on a health challenge, I want you to download that to your phone. And I guarantee you, it will help you. And that whole group, that whole channel, it's Fearless Soul, I think it is. You're going to love it.
So, Fred, thank you so much for the fabulous reminder. I just want to say that for me, I schedule in self-care definitely on a daily basis. So Sundays is just another day to practice, but I get up early in the morning, and I actually spend about an hour, sometimes even an hour and a half, just really centering, communing with God, really praying, really just being focused on, all that I know that He has for me for the day. And I take pride in that, because it truly kicks off my day in a great fashion. And so I love the video that you played, and I can't wait for you to post it in the chat, because I'm going to tell you something. That video was so motivating. It might actually it makes me want to actually go to the gym and spend 30 minutes on the treadmill or something.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because it is, and all the ones they have are pretty darn good. And one of the things I encourage you to, if you're working on your health, and I'm going to say this, and is Tom Martin one? He's going to choke me if I say this, but I'm not a gym person. I hate gyms. I don't like them. It's just not who I am. But you got to find what works. But most people that I find that have struggled with their challenge with their bodies and weight and this and health, it's nothing like outside. Nothing like outside. You may say, well, wait a minute, Fred, I live in Chicago. Well, you know what? There's nothing like bundling up and getting out there in the zero cold. I've done it. I've been there. but I love outside. You got to find what fits for you. But if you're just starting to work on that body, right, that challenge there, I encourage you. There's so many fantastic apps today on YouTube, all free. They have the little countdown clickers. I mean, abs and shoulders, everything you can imagine. And they even have the little clickers. It's almost fail-proof. And there's no interruption. By the time you get in your car and go to a gym, oh my gosh, you would have had a 30-minute workout. So there's so many great things today. What an exciting time to live in with so much stuff available. So I encourage you to get working on your body, get that body moving. If you're having any challenge with I see David Hossetter out there. Look at him. He's out there, see, moving. There you go. So yeah, just get that body moving. And I don't care how little of a step. If you've ever heard Zig Ziglar's presentation on when he was real heavy, he finally started challenging himself. He said, the first day I ran from my door to the mailbox. The next day I went from my door to the other place. Then next thing you know, it was a mile, and then 2 miles, and 3 miles. So work on that. And I encourage you to go outside or use your apps, because it's very simple. Keep it simple. If it gets complicated, I'm going to work 45, I'm going to work out 45 minutes. I tell people, do at least one push-up a day and you'll never be heavy.
Hey, Fred, can I add something there?
Yep.
Hey, Fred. So as you know, I'm a disabled veteran. I was a paratrooper, so my back is completely shattered. I actually was in hospital this morning. One thing that I've done, and to share with the folks here, is I started getting a bike. I got a bike last year. Never thought of it. I rode bike as a kid, but as a grown-ass man, I never thought of riding a bike. And let me tell you something. It's wonderful. I do the same thing that you're talking about. I try to go in the morning, catch a sun. I don't always do, because I sleep. Sometimes my sleep is sporadic due to my injuries. But it's awesome. Also, what I've instituted is the other day I went 18 miles and I just started farming an area. I found a bunch of Fizbos and I went to some open houses. So, and they thought it was phenomenal. They saw me. I'm very, unimposing, because I'm there in shorts, sweating. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm a realtor in the area. I just saw an open house, and they invite me in. And I even made a contact. I wasn't trying to poach, but like they liked me, and they asked me for my card. So I try to mix both, and I really like that.
Go.
And last thing, that video was motivating. And in my veteran network, I have a poet. He's a rapper, poet, and he's tried this new thing for veterans with post-trauma. And it's very similar to that video that you just had. It's just motivational music. It's really like chill. It's called meditation. So it's like meditation, and you have someone speaking. You have a psychologist, a professional. She's speaking, and then he'll speak over it and just saying, you're incredible, you're invincible. And I had to sit through an MRI this morning. And let me tell you, that's a miserable experience. You got to sit through that little thing, and you can't move. And I have injuries, so every 10 minutes I want to move. So it's very hard. And I just started remembering what he was saying, and it actually worked. So I'll put a link there if anyone wants to listen to that, and try riding a bike. It's really good. You can even maybe make some business there. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, and there's so many fantastic people on there. Is a gentleman that I started listening to. I just found him. Whoops! I was looking for something. Started playing, and look this guy up, and you will definitely. He is really rocking the YouTube world. His name is Eddie Pinero. Pinero, Pinero. Eddie Pinero, Pinero. I think he has, like, what is his subscribers? It's he has his one video I'm looking at right now is 539,000 views. He has his subscribers are 297,000 subscribers. So you want to have some fuel for your mind. Eddie Pinero, Pinero. I recommend him very highly. I mean this. I walk to him a lot. It's just phenomenal. All right. Anybody else? And that was great, Andre. Thank you. And everyone, let's thank Andre.
Yes.
I got something.
Hey,
Me too, Fred.
Go ahead.
I mean, everybody's talking about the fitness and doing exercise. I think all of that is great, and one needs it for oneself. But a key thing that I find is, and it's super important, is the vocabulary you talked about. That is like, you have to begin forgetting about all of those negative words of lose, I don't have, that is super, super important. And I would put that like the first thing. And Happy New Year, everyone.
Amen, amen.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Marielle, I'm glad you brought that up, and because, you know, the mini course of life that I, you know, I'm a part of and promote, that's on that PDF, by the way. That's the first thing it does. It gives you a whole list of words to eliminate out of your vocabulary, number one. Number two, the most negative word in all the entire vocabulary, English vocabulary, is what? We did a session on it about 2 months ago. What's the worst word there is? The word should. You know, stop shooting over yourself, right?
Yeah.
That is the worst. That's the worst word. Seriously, I mean, if you catch yourself saying that word, man, just slap yourself, because it is the most demotivating. It is the most, you know, dispowering. I mean, it drains your energy. Should.
Thank you.
No shitting over yourself.
I had something real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Hey, David.
Hey, so I just got back from the gym and I wanted to let you guys know, today I cut it a little bit early because I got to head to the VA, but if anybody wants to start a gym thing, I'm in the gym during these calls every single day. So if you need an accountability buddy, just jump on and you'll see me in there. I'll be in there with you. So
Cool. That's good, man.
Hey, Fred, I have a question as well.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for
Good.
today. So one thing that I struggle with is that I feel like I take on a lot of other people's problems and feelings. I want to fix them. So, you know, I'm good with who I am and, you know, happy with where I'm going in my personal life and my business life, but I feel like I need to fix everybody else. So that kind of drains my energy. And you know what I'm talking about, because I think we touched upon it the other day. Like, what do I do to, you know, I know I can't fix people, but they come to me with like, you know, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So that kind of almost like stops me sometimes on my tracks in my day, and it drains me.
Yeah. You know what? One of the things, Chris, that's really a big topic, and you know, I've been diagnosed as a master, not actually a master, a serial codependent. And codependency is an interesting study. And if I were you, I encourage you to spend a lot of time on YouTube about codependency and overcoming codependency. And codependency.
So I'm codependent. So
yeah,
I'm codependent.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's
Well,
okay. I need to know
no,
that.
listen, we all are. We all have some sense of codependency, but when codependency creates, you know, that's feelings of, you know, it's starting to affect your life. That's when it becomes problematic. Every drug addiction, every addiction in life is rooted in codependency, right? Codependency is the root of most personal problems. So you want to look at that, number one. You know, but the main thing is it's okay to care a lot. I mean, I'm a very caring individual, but you've got to give up ownership, right? Where you're working harder than anybody else, or where you care more than they care. You know, all the time I have people come in. I had a gentleman come in last week. He's ready to jump off a bridge almost, and yet I laid out. I spent an hour with him. I gave him the whole to-do list. I haven't heard from him in a whole week. He didn't send me an email saying, after I met and took an hour with him, hey, thank you so much for that time. And then I realized, I said, you know, in my old self, I'd want to reach back out to him. Said, hey, I don't want to mention his name, so and so, what's going on? But whoa, I can't do more work than they do. Number one. Number two, I'm going to give a plug here. Ryan Saldy's on the phone. Ryan Saldy's wife is a hypnotherapist. And I've been working with Ro Saldy, and Ro is phenomenal at getting you to help you focus personally, right? And so she's been a big help. So I'm going to give her a little bit of plug there, Ro Saldy. So reach out to Ryan Saldy. Ryan.saldy@exprealty.com and ask him for Ro's contact info. She's a great coach. She does personal coaching. She coaches a lot of very highly successful men and help you get out of your way. So I'm going to give her that little plug. But anyway, yeah, Krista, you're just, you know, when people meet you, I mean, you're kind, you're wonderful, you're giving. And so you just need to not take the responsibility of it. You just got to give, and then just give enough, and that's it, and then see how that goes, and then do that. So yeah, that's a big challenge. I battle that every day. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for being so vulnerable and transparent. That's great, because there's a whole lot of us on here probably struggle with that. Anybody else struggle with that Krista's talking about?
So Fred, can I hop in and
Absolutely.
hop in on this, because this was something that was holding me back the first few years of real estate and coaching. So what I realized is that when you allow somebody and you have great listening skills, instead of falling into the codependency to try to fix it, I had to realize that my fixer, myself within, was trying to fix that because I needed to have affirmation within.
Yeah.
So just like what you've talked about, when you go within and you fill that hole of that donut and you allow somebody to self-aware, I know that I'm going to shout out to Daryl right now, in helping someone self-aware what is going on within themselves. It stops the disconnect of that codependency, because then you're a listener. Then you're not allowing the sympathy to come in and drawing on their negative energy. You're allowing the empathy and the love to exude, because when they go internal is when it sticks with them. So if we're just trying to fix it, you're just giving them a fish. However, when you're teaching them to go internal, you're teaching them to fish.
Yep.
So there's a difference between the sympathy and empathy, and it takes a little bit of time. But Fred, thank you so much. You are impactful, and you remind us on a daily basis not to should all over the day, because today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Amen. Amen. And Clara, you hit the nail on the head. And that is that, we do these things a lot of times, Krista, that because of what we get out of it. We don't do anything in life without a cookie, right? I had a coach one time tell me, he said, "What cookie are you getting out of this?" And I would always say, "Well, what do you mean? I don't really know." He said, "Well, what if you did know, right? What if you did know?" So we don't do anything about a cookie. So a lot of times especially as codependents, we get something out of that, right? We get a certain feeling, we get a high. And so, yeah, so we got to just take self-care. And I love that, Clara, get them to go inside, because that's when it does stick. That's perfect. Daryl, go ahead. Somebody else had their hand up. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Fred.
Yeah, somebody else had.
So I want to kind of touch on what Krista said. Krista, one of the things, I came from an industry that's very, a lot of people, I don't want to use the word codependent, but really enjoy helping others. And Fred hit it on the head. I found that when I stopped caring more about helping other people and solving their problems, then it worked. And I actually became more effective, because then by me not caring as much, I didn't take ownership of their problems. I let them, actually empowered them to take ownership of their own problems. And the people that really wanted to solve their own problems would come back to me and, ask for, a different perspective. They would ask for, what would I do? And like Fred said, just leave it. The people that wanted me or were looking for, just somebody to complain about and not change anything, they ended up like weeding themselves out and going away. So what you might find is, care enough to share with them, but care enough about them to let them deal with their own problems. Because at the end of the day, that's what people want to do, right? They want to feel empowered to handle their own business. Personal note, I have two boys, and two distinct different ways of it. They both played football. My oldest one was not really a great athlete, and he didn't play much. And he went and talked to the coach, and his mom went in and talked to the coach for him. Well, my youngest son gave me grief for not helping and talking to the coach for my oldest son. And I said, look, he's in high school. He needs to handle his own business. If he needs help, I'll walk through the verbiage, whatever, but he needs to man up and go talk to the coach about his playing time. Fast forward 3 years, my younger son had a situation and he needed to go talk to the coach. And I said to him, well, what are you going to do? You going to call him? You going to handle it? So he went and he called the coach. Coach said, let's meet. He said, Dad, what do I say? So we scripted at the dinner table and we practiced and said, is that what you want to say? I'm not telling you what to say. So after about an hour and a half, he finally got down to the 3 points he wanted to make about why he should be back on the football team. Walked away, went to the coach the next day, came home, so excited. And he said, Dad, he goes, thank you. He goes, yeah, thanks for letting me handle my business. And that was the joy. The two ways if he handled his own business, win or lose, he handled it. And now he's 16, but he feels like a man. So at the end of the day, Fred, I agree with you 100% is we've got to care, but we've got to care just enough to empower people not to take on their crap because they need to deal with it.
Yep. Yeah, and you know the old saying, you lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with leading people to water. I do it all the time. I buy an awful lot of books. I just bought 200 books that I found a book I really liked, and I got them wholesale. And matter of fact, there's Tina Vallen's book, and so I talked to her, and I just ordered 200 of them, and I give them out to women. So I lead people to water. But I don't sit there with them, say, okay, now put your head down. No, suck. So head and suck. I used to, but definitely walk them down to the pond and show them the water and maybe even throw a little salt in it, but don't sit there while they're trying to drink and then hold their head back for them, All right, a partner, who is that with the hand up raised? There she is.
It's Stephanie.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? You're small there.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to thank everyone for all of the insight that everyone's giving. You mainly, Fred. I really appreciate the inspiration. I'm in the middle of reading Aspire, the book that you recommended for all.
Fantastic.
Amazing book. One of the main things that he starts with is want to emulate. And basically, you pick somebody or you pick a couple of people that you can learn and grow from what they've been through and what they're teaching you, or what they've learned in the past and how they are growing in the future and bettering. Betterment for self is so amazing, and I'm so glad to have Soulful Wednesdays. I mean, it's one of the main things pushes us to help and to be a better service, whether it's to our clients or to our family members. But self comes first. You can't give if you're in need.
That's right.
I wanted to just remind everybody that it's the motivation. It's a daily thing. It's a constant thing. Sometimes it's several times a day. So take care of self. That's the main thing. And I'm glad you touched on that today. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. And I'm so glad you brought up Aspire. That book is in that PDF that we just put into the chat. We did put that in there, right, Joe, in the chat as well. Put the PDF in the chat.
It says the file is invalid. I can't send it. There's nothing in there.
Oh,
Can
really?
you try sending it to me?
Wow. What's going on there? I wonder.
It says error, failed to load PDF document.
Okay, Joe, what is your email?
I sent it to you via chat. I'll send it again to you now.
Well, my windows are blocked is the problem when you try to open all these windows with. Can you,
I'm dropping it into the chat now. Can you guys see it? I think I did.
Oh, cool. Is it working?
Claire's clapping, so I think you guys can see it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm here multitasking.
So in that PDF, in that PDF is that book Aspire that Stephanie's talking about, and that's the one written by Frank McKinney. Every time one of those books are purchased, 200 meals are fed in Haiti because he doesn't take any profit from those books at all. But what's more important is Frank's philosophy in life, and you talk about mastering of self, conquering self. He conquered his career. He conquered building self-sustained villages in Haiti. Conquered one of the hardest race in the world, which was Badwater 6 times. He is all about conquering self. So I'm glad you brought that up, Steph. It's called Aspire.
Yes.
It's in that PDF.
Don't mean to cut you off, but another thing he talked about is changing your DNA.
Yep.
That we're born a certain way and we're stuck that way, but you can change your DNA. You can. Everything you're talking about are ways to better yourself, to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and to put yourself where you want to be. It's going to take time and it's going to take commitment, but anything is possible, and you can change yourself. You don't have to be stuck on how your parents raised you and the BS, the belief system that you were raised with. So
right. Yeah, and next time we get on, we're going to talk a lot about that. All of us were programmed the first 7 years of our lives, and we don't realize is that we just keep repeating that same 7 years over and over again. So when you look at your life and you're, 49 years old, what you actually did is you took your first 7 and you just repeated it 6 more times. And when you start going looking at some of your life challenges, especially ones that are severe or relationship issues or whatever other issues you've had, and you start evaluating it, and we're going to get into that next time. You just repeated your first 7 years 6 more times. So what Frank talks about is altering the DNA by this conquering of self, right? And so do a whole lot of other people. There's scientific evidence. Oh my gosh, Dr. Bruce Lipton that we're going to talk about next time. Because that first 7 years is sad. When you get to a point in life and you're, wait a minute, that makes sense. I only repeated my first 7 years over and over and over again until something gets a hold of you and you start conquering yourself to just hit that switch. Your DNA changes, your cells in your body change, you're more youthful looking, you're more energetic, you're more, I love going to the doctor. I don't go to the doctor often, but I went and had a checkup and I hadn't had one in 3 years. And I just love going because it's like, wow, that's pretty good blood pressure. Wow, that's pretty good pulse rate. Wow, that's pretty good this. Wow, that's pretty. I go, thank you. So, and I think a lot of it is I know a lot of it is this. It's all mindset because it does change your DNA, and I love that part that Frank brings that up. So, yeah, get that book if you don't have it. Please order it because you are not only going to do something to conquer yourself, you're also going to feed 200 meals in Haiti as soon as you buy that book. Pretty cool. All right, anybody else? Somebody we haven't heard from yet. And look at Emily. Look at Emily, how deep of a thought she's in. Look, she's thinking deep. I love it. I can just see it, the smoke.
I've been very deep in thought lately. Just, I got back from visiting my brother in Costa Rica, making up for lost time. Had a couple deals fall through, so you just need to kind of rebalance and just figure stuff out,
Okay. Well, I'm glad we called her, folks, because we're going to save her from that language. Her mom is Marielle, who's just said, you got to be careful of the language. She said, making up for lost time. Wow.
With my brother, I had not spent many
But you
years.
didn't lose. You didn't lose any time. Everything is the present moment, right?
This is true. Yeah, but I miss you.
We're glad we got to get you to speak up.
Yeah, It's good to see you.
Good to see you. All right, anybody else? Okay, I think.
Fred, I'll jump in. I know you were holding on.
Deep.
This call's amazing. It's really kind of, gets to the core of it, and we all have a struggle, difficult time doing this. I come from a background that I've always been the fixer-upper. Jump in the situation, I know how to fix things and move to the next stage. I really relate to a lot of the people who are talking about things. I'm always good at fixing other people's problems besides my own. I'm always planning ahead, not to just say my situations. My father lives with me, he's 86 years old, and I'm planning more for him. What am I going to do this weekend? How am I going to entertain him, especially with the COVID and everything else? And listening to what you just said, what am I doing for myself besides my workout that I do, besides the meditation? But there's nothing else. I'm taking myself out of the equation for myself. How am I filling that tank? That, my ex-girlfriend told me a few years ago, I'm a great giver, but I'm a horrible receiver. And she said, how can you be better at this? Because you have to be a better receiver. And I went to therapy and try to work with that, and things lead back to when I was 9 years old. So it's, I'm being very open-minded, and some things that's against my religion, against my culture that I brought up. Go to therapy is like going to, I don't want to say it, but I had to get out of that skin, out of my own skin to do that, to better me, nobody else around me, and it was difficult. But it's still a day-to-day struggle, like everybody's saying, right? It's how do you keep your mind focused? I keep your card next to me all the time.
I love that.
It says, and the only thing, other thing I read somewhere very simple, and I don't remember the whole, how he explained. He said, we plan this 30-day detox, 15-day detox, have a 3-hour detox.
Yeah.
If something is stuck in your head, something's holding you back, somebody, family member or relative or your loved ones, somebody's done that to you, let them not hold you down for days.
Yes. Well,
You're
it's
only affecting yourself. It should be a timeline for even that detox part, right?
yeah.
Why do it 30-day? Why can't you do it 3 hours?
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tell you, Deep, thank you for your being vulnerable and transparent there. And as I said, we just keep repeating the same 7 years over and over again. But that you're right. How many times our thoughts, as soon as you're thinking a thought of past or future, and especially when there's a relationship thing, as Deep just talked about, oh my gosh, there's nothing that thought. It's like it's an empty thought. It's an illusion. Just stop it. You got to get back in the present moment and take that breath. Everything is perfect in the present moment, right? So we just consume ourselves with that, right, Deep? I mean, it's just thank you for sharing that, because it, and what's interesting, you all go through it too. I go through it daily. It's stuff comes up that's 4 or 5 years old. I could have, should have, would have. Boy, what happened if I would have made this decision? Well, you can't. It's what you're talking about. And again, that mind, the reason it's so active is because it's so powerful and it wants to create. So when you are in those moments of vanity thinking, I call it, or illusion type thinking, what you're doing is you're giving up some creative opportunity, because all your mind wants to do is stay occupied, because you're a creator. You're a creator. So what happens is we take these old thoughts, or we take these 2 years ago thoughts, 5 years ago thoughts, or an hour ago someone made you mad thoughts, or whatever it is, but because your mind wants to stay busy, your mind won't ever stay. Your mind is never neutral, right? Your mind is never neutral. When you go into meditation, it's not even neutral, because now you're into a spot where you really belong as a creator. So, but it is so important to realize is that how much power is within us, and that we can tap that every moment, but it's got to stay in the present moment, because you'll find that, what Deep was just talking about, you get haunted by what someone said a week ago, 5 weeks ago, or you're haunted with what you're planning in other people's lives and not your own. So thank you, Deep. That was good. I'm glad you broke in.
Hey, Fred, I've got a question.
Yes.
So Deep just hit on something that I would like you to share with us about going deeper. When you're doing your 30 minutes of download on your Sundays, what is your process that you go through? Because like when I go through a process like that, I do a balance sheet, pros and cons. Okay, because I've got to get the past out in order to focus on the present. So what are some of the tools that you use to make that 30 minutes most effective for you moving forward for your week?
The first thing for me is the Fitbit. I love my Fitbit. I look at my number of steps, right? And I want to do at least 75,000 to 100,000 steps in a week. Okay, whether it's running, whether it's, because I do running, walking. At my age, I fortunately I still got great legs and all that kind of stuff. But running is a little bit tougher on the knees, so I don't run a lot. I mean, I can run 5 miles to the beach. I have, and I do from every now and then. But I look at my Fitbit. So I always start with my physical. What was this week like, right? And then I look at the weeks that the days that I splurged and I was bad, and I go, what triggered that, and gee, I gotta start working on it. And then I come up with, if that happens again, what am I going to do, right? And so I just kind of keep figuring myself out. And so it always starts with the physical, and then the mental for me is somewhat kind of easy, because I don't have younger children, I don't have other responsibility, so I'm always into audiobooks. And I'm reading a book, I'm going through a book now by Dr. Joe Dispenza, You Are the Placebo. And plus I'm going through Aspire, and plus I'm going, so the mental part's kind of natural for me. But then the finances, in the work, I make sure my week is blocked for calls, because I still prospect for team building. So it's blocked every day, you know, for 2 hours. And I make sure nothing, and if I have to move it around, then I just time plan, you know, just plan my priorities. And just reevaluate the previous week and then set some dates with myself. So that's the main thing. Alana, who is that beautiful little boy with that beautiful hair? Hey there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elena Phillips. I was invited on this call.
Oh, hey, Elena. Who is that?
This is JoJo.
JoJo. Oh my gosh, I love that name, JoJo. I had a brother, Joseph. Yeah, they call him Joey.
I have a 3-year-old as well, so she's at
Oh,
sleepover.
oh, great, great. Hey, JoJo. Hey, JoJo.
Thanks for letting me listen in. I'm thinking about getting
Yeah.
my license here soon, so I'm
Yeah.
learning right now.
Cool. Good to see you. Good to meet you. All right. I guess that was the after party too, huh? Wow, we went way over there. Anybody else? Joe, where are we? Anybody?
Daryl, take over.